There's a new stud in town. What'd you hear about him? Well, they said that he's big and strong and good looking.
Gotta get your act together.
Harder, stronger.
Hairy, sweaty, macho.
Real physical strength. He'll never stop.
The new wave of online fitness influencers is causing a lot of problems, and honestly, it's too many to list in this podcast. Plus, I'd run the risk of sounding like a bitter malcontent for giving you all the reasons why they are big and I am not. But it doesn't make the veracity of my claims any less real. Online fitness has us all chasing things that are visually appealing, easily marketed, or both. Doesn't leave a lot of room to discuss their effectiveness or their purpose. When these ideas are applied to a demographic that largely doesn't know what the fuck it's talking about, now you have a marketplace flooded with things that are not only ineffective, but oftentimes counterproductive. Today, my only goal is to dissect the one idea that I think can help you get more control over fitness and health than anything else. I am talking about the idea of stimuli, adaptation, and fatigue. All the complex circuits and intervals and fad diets, niche protocols, they make you feel like you're accomplishing fitness. It's easier to believe you are dieting if you are told to just skip breakfast and don't eat meat, in comparison to being told, monitor your intake for 6 weeks and then get coordinated blood work. It's easier to feel like you're training if I tell you to do a body weight circuit mixed with burpees than it is to tell you to please write down all your sets and reps and make sure that you're progressively overloading in that 80 to 90% rep range and continue with that block until you're told not to, and then we can adjust the volume and the intensity. New fad diets are easy to follow. Hey, avoid foods A and foods B. Skip breakfast and make sure you don't eat before bed. Now you can just go straight to Instagram and post about how you're dieting. Circuit training and complexes, they get you drenched in sweat, and now you almost immediately feel like you are a shredded Olympian. When the reality is, all training, all dieting is about finding a specific stimuli and then a subsequent adaptation. If you go into the gym and you aimlessly exercise, with no goals or no idea of what you're gonna do, you are not only missing the intended stimulus, but you're fatiguing yourself, making it that much harder to achieve the stimulus that you unknowingly wanted to achieve. The human body is an amazing machine that has risen to the top of the animal kingdom by its almost impossible ability to adapt. If you subject the body to a certain stress, it will magically adapt to make dealing with that stress more effective and more efficient. If you randomly throw stress at it in a haphazard way, it will give you a biological middle finger. You want to run a faster marathon? Okay, you have to build your body's capacity to run faster and run longer, and that does not happen by accident. You want to lose body fat, you want to gain muscle, that is not an adaptation that comes along from vaguely saying you're eating cleaner and I'm exercising. These adaptations require a focused, a meaningful, a specific message sent to the body in order to recruit a specific adaptation. I went on this rant because I'm genuinely bothered personally by all the times I go to jiu-jitsu and I hear my friends talk about how they can't keep from gassing out, and then I find out they've been following keto for 6 weeks because they want to get shredded. And I'm just really bothered by the amount of female family and friends that just can't understand why their booty's still flat, even though they've been following Vapid Puta A's booty burn program in a fasted state and then washing it down with gluten-free pancakes. Remember at the beginning of this podcast when I told you that there are 3 things you need to focus on? Stimulus, adaptation, fatigue. If stimulus gets outweighed by fatigue, not only can the adaptation you want not happen, oftentimes it gets it to drift farther and farther away from your grasp. Let's take a suntan, use it as an analogy. You gotta look in the mirror first, right? And you say, hey, I'm a redhead from Scotland and I probably can't be out in the sun too long if I wanna get a tan. Or you could say, look at me, I'm Wesley Snipes. I can roam around shirtless on the Kalahari Plains and not worry much about about it at all. But either way, you understand that there's a certain amount of stress, the sun, that you can tolerate, and there's a certain amount of stress that you can't. Let's say you identify that, hey, 15, 20 minutes with my lotion on, that is perfect for me to get a nice healthy tan. So you do that. But in between that, you're playing golf in a tank top, and you're going down to collect the kids' pool toys with your short shorts on, or you're playing a pickup soccer game with the kids in your bikini. All of that adds up. Even though it wasn't your intended tanning session, it still can lead you to getting burnt. Now apply this to your training and your diet, okay? If you really want to get ripped for summer, you need to apply a very select and specific group of stressors to your body. And you got to do it for a good amount of time in order to receive those very specific adaptations. More muscle, less fat, that is your beautiful suntan. Well, if you're sleeping for 4 hours a night and having a bottle of wine every other night, and you're just doing cardio, ladies, because you don't want to get bulky, you're now just accumulating a ton of unnecessary sunlight without factoring in how many times you're out there in the sun. You're burnt out, you're fatigued, AKA you are sunburnt, and now you can't go back outside for the next 2 weeks. You want to lose body fat? Find out how many calories is your baseline level. Then remove a small but meaningful amount, 300 to 500 calories, let's say. Up your protein, lift weights to avoid muscle loss and any hormonal imbalances or problems. Get stronger in those lifts. Then manage all other physical activities that might create fatigue that would prevent you from getting the adaptations that you want. If you want to build a bigger booty, ladies, first off, great idea. You got to progressively increase the amount of mechanical tension applied to your gluteus muscles and the surrounding tissue. You got to eat a small surplus, up your protein, and make sure your body has the tools to recover in order for you to make the adaptations that you want. Look, people, find out what you really want. Then find the adaptations and the stimuli that you need to get it. Get rid of everything else, because everything else might create fatigue. If things aren't adding up, you got to start subtracting, man. Thank you so much for tuning in, okay? Thank you. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave a 5-star comment. It really does help. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, it doesn't matter. Everywhere podcasts are available is where you can find this. And if you want any of my awesome ebooks, you might want them. They might help you achieve some of the stuff that we've talked about today. They are in the show notes below. Check the link. Also, if you want me to personally help you, check the show notes below, because you could sign up at my Patreon for the top tier. And in this crazy mixed up world that makes you think that nobody cares, remember, I do. Be good, people.